Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness, and welcome to my channel. I'm a speaker, author, and seminar leader, and on this show, I talk about how to expand your world of thought, explore the world of positive thinking, law of attraction, and consciousness from many points of view. I intend to share with you information that will enlighten and empower you in your life. I'm here to encourage you to think in the positive and show that miracles can happen. I truly believe you've been given the power of the word and thought to create the life that you desire. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you found me. If you are a subscriber, thank you for listening again. And if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you'll be notified when I decide to upload some great information for you. So I'm still working on Catherine Ponder and going through her book, The Prosperity Secrets of the Ages. And this week, I'm going to be talking to you from Chapter 3. And it's the 7 secret attitudes for success. And she tells us it's from the creation story. And she goes on, she talks mostly about the allegories within the scriptures, the Old Testament, the New Testament. And she says the success symbology given in the 7 days of creation is terrific. It's the 7 stages of creation are symbolic. Now listen to this. Of 7 mental attitudes you can use for creating your success. So you don't have to memorize all of these. You might have to get yourself a piece of paper and a note so that you can write these down. I haven't gotten as sophisticated as some of my other podcasters yet, and if I can figure out a way to get you a transcription down below, unless it's automatic, I want you to get a pencil and a paper so you can make notes. Actually, it's even better for you to listen and then write down the information, because there is a connection between your handwriting and your brain and memory. So you don't have to remember all 7, but I want you to hold mentally to any of them, and so that you can start your way, as she said, toward a successful new beginning. She says that we may be familiar with all 7, but I'm going to figure these out. And when she does this, it kind of reminds me of Napoleon Hill with his 16 laws of success. And there should be a Napoleon Hill playlist that you can take a look at and see some of the things I've talked about with him. So I'm going to skip forward in what she says, but she said you can begin changing your world in the same simple way. Further evidence that you should do so is shown in the fact that a loving father later brought the birds of heaven and the beasts of the field to Adam to see what he would call them. Whatever you call or name your experiences, that they become according to your decree. And she takes this from Genesis 2:19. Remember, I said in the beginning that you've been given the power of the word and thought to create the life that you desire. And so she's reinforcing that thought for me. All right. So let's see what our first one is. Your first success attitude. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. She says, always when you're trying to either bring forth new good in your life or solve a troublesome problem from the past, you can start getting results by decreeing, let there be light. So just think about that. Let there be light. So is that the idea of shedding light on an issue? Many people have said that. Do we get new ideas? So, or intuition, or are you observing some things that happen? So therefore decree, let there be light, rather than going about trying to figure things out yourself, trying to force people to do things, trying to force people to have your way of thinking or whatever. Let there be light. Let there be intuition. Let there be ideas. Let somebody come to you and maybe tell you something that will be good for you. She goes on and tells the story. A photographer, I love the way she has examples. A photographer had long sought to collect thousands of dollars due him on a judgment. At the time of the court decision, this man's creditor had been unable to pay. Later he had prospered, but still he refused to pay. So this photographer was using all the legal action that he did. But then he heard Catherine speak. And which was explained that along with their literal meaning, the 7 steps in creation as given in Genesis 1 also denote the 7 secret attitudes for success. Let there be light. Let there be enlightened ideas and enlightened results to this situation. So he took that information to heart. He said one day, as he was thinking in this way, he suddenly flashed into his mind to write a relative who he had lost contact with some 10 years previously, and to ask his advice about this legal matter. In his reply, this relative explained that during the 10-year interval, he had enjoyed great success and was now in a position of influence and authority to help quickly clear up the legal matter. Thereafter, this case that his money has been sitting there forever, he said, thereafter, the case that had been pending for years quietly moved towards settlement to the satisfaction of all involved. Let there be light. He took his intuition and wrote to this relative who had influence, and thus his payment was made. Another example, a housewife spoke of her concern for a friend who was ill. Both medical and physical help had not seemed effective. So she was praying for her friend's healing, and then she remembered this first one, let there be light. And she remembered what scientists have said, that at the center of each atom of man's being, there is light, and that's true. Because we're firing off protons, neutrons, whatever, but when they fire, they give off a little light. So you're a light to the world. All right? So where there is a healing need, it is as though the light in the diseased area, and if you've ever seen an x-ray or something, it appears dark. And it needs to be contacted and released when it is healing results. So she remembered this explanation. And she began affirming for her sick friend, let there be light, let there be light. And I'm imagining she was saying it over and over with her friend in mind. And she says, she goes on to say that it was as though someone had turned on an extremely bright light in the room where she was. The whole area seemed flooded with light. She also had a feeling of peaceful assurance that her friend would be all right. And anxiety and fear left her. And this is always amazing. She learned later that the turning point in her friend's health came that day, and she continued to improve. So, for any situation that is bothering you, let there be light. And I'm going to give you the second one today. So I'm just going to give you the first and second, and then a follow-on. We'll give you the next two, because I don't want this to be very long. Okay? So the second success attitude, besides, I want you to practice these until the next drop. How's that? Your second success attitude, God said, let there be firmament in the midst of the water. Genesis 1:6. The word water here symbolizes any situation you are trying to master. In order to master that situation, you want a firmament in the midst of it. That is, you want a firm feeling about it, some firm results. And firmament, she goes on to say, designates faith. All right, and what is faith? The assured expectation of things hoped for yet unseen. So you want to affirm light for a situation. You want to be assured. You know, have you ever gotten that intuition, that feeling inside of you, and you just knew. You knew. You were done. You knew that this was the thing to do. All right? From the creation story, things are going to work out. You have nothing but assurance, firm feeling, she goes on. And she gives one story on this one about a minister from West Berlin spoke of this success secret work for one of his parishioners. And what happened, the father had died this is before, for those of you who are young, there was a wall in Berlin. If you study your history, there was an East Berlin and a West Berlin. The East Berlin was Russian, and then East Berlin was Russian, West Berlin was Western. You know, United States, England, Germany, France, freedom. And this parishioner wanted to have the body of their father delivered into West Berlin for a Christian memorial service. So what the minister did, he said, let us have faith. Just know that it is for the highest good of all involved in this situation. The communists will grant your request. They went into prayer. They got calm. They got peaceful. They got that firm feeling, an inner knowing, a conviction, the idea that this is going to happen. And lo and behold, the communists notified this parishioner that they were sending the body to West Berlin for burial. So she says, when you seem to be floundering in the waters of negative condition, you want a firmament or a firm feeling that things are going to work out. So the 2 of the 7 in this particular podcast: 1, let there be light, and 2, let there be firmament in the midst of the water. Let there be a firm feeling. So, the first one, let there be light, is from Genesis 1:3. And let there be firmament is Genesis 1:6, and you can review those. So think of those until the next drop next week. But work on those. That's what I want you to do. Don't just listen to these. I want you to think about them and start putting these to work in your life. Let there be light, and be firm and calm, and know that what you ask for will come to be. This is Beverly Fells Jones, your Silver Fox of Consciousness. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and be sure to share this to those who you know would benefit from this information and from all the other information that I have on this channel. As you have believed, let it be done to you, and it is so, and I'll see you in the next video.